increase, and
Good
also
morning,
in Georgia.
guys.
Georgia,
Now,
Atlanta
I would
hospital
like
report that
to
15% of
to
increase
follow
of
the
domestic violence
conference,
cases
yeah,
happen
meeting
in the hospital
from the
in
webinar.
their
This
facilities.
is the
What about in
from
Indonesia?
Houston.
In Indonesia, our
From
National
Houston,
Commission Against the Violence Against Women also
from
noted that
the
domestic violence
Economic
increased
and
during
Indonesian
COVID-19.
Houston Net.
And this
Yeah,
is also
I follow the conference
stated
with
by
the
the
topic about
Women
domestic
National Commission
violence. Yeah,
during
between
May
the
2020.
woman,
Now
yeah,
let's talk about the
and man.
punishment or the regulation against domestic violence. In the United States, misdemeanor domestic violence is punishable by fines or maximums of 1 year imprisonment. Yeah, this is different. In Indonesia, it's harder. Yeah. So in Indonesia, the violence against women, especially, they will stay in jail for 5 years, and the fines will be around 15 million rupiah. So it is about 1,000 1,200 US dollar. But in terms of the length of in jail, of course, in Indonesia is much longer and much harder. Now, what we are doing in the consulate, of course, the Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia, one of diplomacy priorities is to give a protection of Indonesian citizens in the United States. So what we are doing, we got some cases also reported to us. At least until now, we have around, is it 4 cases? Yeah, 4 cases, one in Florida. This is against the assistant of rumah tangga itu apa? Huh? Domestic worker. Domestic worker, assistant like maid, Indonesian maid working for foreign nationals in Florida, and then she got a lot of abuse, and then she escaped from her house, and somebody reported to us, and then we picked her up, and we gave a shelter in our consulate to protect and also to help her, and also we talked to the ininya apa namanya, majikannya. We talked to an employer to solve the case, and also we facilitated her to go back home to Indonesia. There are also some cases in Texas where she reported to us that she got an abuse from her husband, and then we facilitated some information to go to the family lawyer, and also to give information what to do next. We have a hotline in our consulate for helping and also consult to the consulate what they have to do, especially for Indonesian citizens. But for the U.S. or Indonesian American, of course, they have to report to the office in America itself. There's another case also in in uh, in in 2019. This is in where is it, Adin? In Atlanta. Is it in Atlanta? The first one in Georgia, okay, and then the second one is the maid in Florida. And then, so what we are doing, yeah, we give them shelter in the consulate. Luckily, we have also 2 rooms for the shelter for those who are experience domestic violence. The second one, we do communication with their family in Indonesia, and then also we facilitate if they want to go home to Indonesia. We also bring them and facilitate and take the victim to the hospital, go to the doctor, and also we advise them to give a legal consultancy, and we give a recommendation for a family lawyer to accompany and also to help during the court. So that's what we are doing in the consulate. We also have a hotline number, our hotline number for those Indonesian who are uh, berapa nomornya hotline? Okay, the hotline number of the consulate to be contacted is 346-932-7284. Right. So that's it what I can share. But mind you again that the domestic violence is not only for women but also for men. And what you have to do then beside calling the consulate, you can also report to 911.
I'm
And you
hungry,
can also go to the
guys.
hospital.
This
Don't
morning
forget to take photos because that can be an evidence for you.
6:30
And
a.m.
then also the police usually will ask the chronology of the case and also the supporting document.
My breakfast, Coco Crunch.
That's all. Thank you very much for
I
the
use
opportunity.
milk.
Now I give back to a moderator. Matri, please. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Ibu Nana. So everybody can hear your English is very wonderful and very clear explanation. And also for all of the guests or the participants, you can type your questions and our team will take a look about it. And we're gonna go to the second speaker, which is my a professor too from University of Indonesia. So Dr. Lidwina Ingenut Cahyo, she's anthropology, gender and law studies from University of Indonesia. From 2018 until present, she is the manager of community engagement unit in faculty law in University of Indonesia. And also, she's the chief of gender studies postgraduate program at the School of Strategic and Global Studies at University of Indonesia. And one of the things that is not on her bio, actually, she was one of the assistant to Professor Tapiomas, which is actually my aunt. And she's one of the founder of Indonesian woman with the law background. So maybe she can share more about it, her experience and how Indonesian can deal with the domestic violence from perspective anthropologists and also law as well. So without further ado, I welcome and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Metrini. Yeah, I will call sorry, I will call Mbak Bulia and Mbak Metrini as Mbak. It's sister. It's very it's a common language in Indonesia that if you call also a woman as a mbak, it means that you respect and also think that she's have a close relation with you. So I only want to share some of my findings at the field about domestic violence. As we know that the domestic violence is quite a very armed action that can cause some problem not only for women but also for the young male. So yeah, could you continue the slide, please? Boleh, yeah. So, okay. In this slide, we can see the chairs. Why I put the picture of the chairs? Actually, when you visit court, you will find this that's on their chair, but if they can speak, they will tell you the sadness or many stories about women victims, especially domestic violence victims. How the women struggle for justice, or how the family of the women crying for help, or in other hand, the family of the perpetrator said that, oh, I cannot imagine that he could do that, or it's impossible that he can do that. Okay, so yeah, that's only illustration that can describe uh, uh, society or family perspective about the domestic violence. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, actually, the UN have a declaration of elimination on violence against women in 1993 that recognizing that violence against women is a manifestation of historically unequal power relations between men and women, which have led to domination over and discrimination against women by men, and to the prevention of the full advancement of women as one of the crucial social mechanisms by which women are forced into a subordinate position compared with men. So it tends on, or it refers to unequal power relations between men and women. Okay, next slide, please. As we know, domestic violence in some of Indonesian act or government rules, it says that domestic violence is a one form of such violence against women in domestic violence. There are some various forms of domestic violence as physics, psychology, sexual, and economic. For example, abandonment, and all of those four are conducted in order to control a spouse, your partner, or a child, or other family member who who is living in the same household. So it means that all of the action of domestic violence tend to control the victims. Yeah, and in the rapidly developing condition of information technology, domestic violence sometimes can also take the form of technology facilitated sexual violence. For It's a part of control also that uh, you push your spouse or your partner to do some sexual act, and you make a film, or you share or distribute the a picture or the a film to internet only for push them to do what you want her or him to do. And also, domestic violence can be taken form as a malicious distribution, including porn revenge. Next slide, please. Okay. Based on Republic of Indonesia Act number 23, year 2004, in Article 1, it said that domestic violence is every deed of a person, especially women, which can make the victim suffer physically, sexually, psychologically, and or financially, including deprivation of independence against the law in the sphere of the household. So it means that not only domestic violence is not the victim of the domestic violence is not only your partner, your children, but also can be the people that live with you in the same household. Uh, Ibu Nana have gave an explain that gave an examples about the case that the victim is uh, the domestic worker, ya Bu. Nah, that's a part of domestic violence also.
Yes, po.
Okay. next slide, please. This is some of international instruments which protect women and children's rights. We have Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which Ibu Tapi Omas Ihromi, Ibu Metrini's own, working to socialization this convention in Indonesia, and we also thank to her that we also have the commission, Indonesian Commission for
Not already finished yet.
socialization, and also we have a convention on the rights of the child, and these two international instruments
In pandemic situation like now,
as the
there's
base
only
for other
stay at
government
home.
rules in Indonesia
Yeah, we
to
must
protect
enjoy
women and children's
by
rights.
ourselves
Why? Because domestic violence actually against
because
women and children
the world is
and
changing now.
neglect the dignity
with
of
the
women and children.
digital.
So
We are not
these international instruments
communicate
protect the vulnerable
by
both-
going
both of
outside
vulnerable
with
groups.
friends. Yeah,
Next slide, please.
so it's different now.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
Actually, who's the
lonely,
victim of
but you must
domestic violence
happy,
and who's the perpetrator?
healthy. Oh my
Most of the
God.
domestic violence victims are
You
women
know,
and
changing
children.
is very
But sometimes
difficult.
perpetrators are not only adult males. Sometimes you can find a case that elderly could be the perpetrator, or even the caregiver also could potentially become perpetrators.
I found this
The
coming to the conference
relationship
very
between the
good. And there's
victim and the
positive way.
perpetrator can be based on not
If in the
only
pandemic
on
there
marital
is a big
relationship
problem,
or
so
spouse,
we know how
but
to
also
overcome that.
as parents,
Yeah.
siblings, or even caregiver
You know,
and the
because
person
the economic
that gives
situation,
the service.
yeah, you know, the
Children or
emotional
teens
of the
have the
human, of
potential
course,
to be
not
perpetrators
normal.
also,
Yeah.
or
So
otherwise they can
how,
be
if we
the
want to
victims of
save, this is the
household
best way.
workers.
We follow the conference, we
Actually,
follow the meeting,
anyone
yeah.
who has a
We
financial,
discuss, we
emotional,
can
social,
ask
and
questions.
psychological dependence within a household, they can be potential to become as violence victims. Next slide, please. Okay, some of the factors that may cause domestic violence. We found these
You know, my
factors
breakfast,
when we do
I mix with the green
when we
beans,
do the
milk,
research.
cocoa crunch, yeah.
Sometimes the perpetrator has a psychiatric problems,
That's a good
or
nutrition
they
in the
have a
morning.
social pressure that in Indonesia, one of kind of social pressure, for example, when you visit your parents' house and they found that you don't you haven't a child, gitu ya, even you get married for 10 years, they will be said anything that push you to have a child. So it's kind of a pressure, and sometimes in Indonesia, the husband put the blame on his wife, gitu ya. It's a part of social pressure, and not only your parents that put the blame on you, but sometimes your neighbor also gossiping you that why they get married about 10 years and they don't have any child right now. Okay, that's kind of social pressure that common happen in Indonesia. And the next factor is a high economic dependency of the victim. Sometimes it's just like a vicious circle. The perpetrator asks the wife not to go outside or not to work, gitu ya. And then the wife highly dependent to the perpetrator or to the husband, and then the violence happens, but unfortunately the wife can have no power again to go out for work or to support herself. Other factors is the will or need to control spouse, child, or other person under his authority. It based on unequal power relations. And also we have cultural factors. These cultural factors where violence is considered normal, even if it occurs in the family, is considered as a part of disciplining children and women or your domestic worker in the household. Uh, these cultural factors. Okay, I found this the statement that the statement from some people about the domestic violence is a part of culture. When we visit when we visit East Indonesia, they explain that ibu, it's okay when we put our hand to our wife or to our children. That's not violence. Oh, we are so surprised and we are so shocked. Oh, Papa, but that's a violence when you beat your wife or when you beat your children. No, Ibu, it's a kind of discipline. So it means that if you beat somebody, they will only see that as a discipline action. But we don't agree with that. Why? Because you can do discipline not only by beating people. Don't beat because it's a violence. Simple. You just say that okay, you cannot do that, but please do this. You can get a small talk with your children or with your wife, not beaten them. Okay, next. Not all victims. Okay, actually, after violence happen, not all victims are willing to report. Why? Okay, because victims does not realize that she or he is a crime victim. It can be happen because, as I explained before, some people think that the violence is only a part of discipline. So they think that's not a violence. Okay. And next, victim have a very high sense. Sorry, can you back? Yeah, victim have a very high sense of dependence on the perpetrator, and also there are cultural and religious values that force victims to maintain the marriage or keep staying in the household. Uh, yeah, because for example, there is social values that say that if you divorce your husband, it's a sin by the church, for example. Okay, and next, the victims believe in the promise of the perpetrators. The perpetrators say that, oh yeah,
Okay,
I have a
guys.
commitment
I
to
think it's
change
too long,
myself.
yeah, to make
I
video.
love you. So
The conference not finished yet.
the victims
Okay,
believe
so
that
I
okay,
will continue later on after I finish
I can bear the
follow the
violence
conference.
because
I will make the
he
contents,
wants
yeah,
to
what is it
change.
about,
The
okay?
victims believe in the promise of the
I hope
perpetrators.
you have
Next
the
slide, please.
very nice weekend, guys. Thank
Other
you.
factors
Bye bye.
other
See
factors
you
are
for the
victims
next
have limited
channel
access to
for
knowledge
the
about
next
their
time.
rights and
Have a wonderful
obligations in law.
day.